I meet a lot of illustrators who are hardworking, genuinely talented, and still struggling to make money. They do the work, they take the courses, post online, and nothing really changes. Then there are some artists who seem to have all the luck. They get the clients, the agent, and they blow up online. Is it just luck? I don't think so. This video isn't about blaming artists for not working hard enough. It's the opposite, because I see how hard you work. It's about understanding why being skilled and hardworking isn't enough on its own, and what actually separates the artists who scrape by from the ones who build sustainable careers. And it's not usually about talent. It's where the skill is applied, how it's presented, and how clearly the artist understands the game they're playing. Being talented, hardworking, and broke isn't a failure. It's just a problem that we can solve. Let's talk about talent for a second. It's not a word I use very often, and that's deliberate. Natural talent is a nice head start. Some people have it, some people don't. I actually had a natural talent for drawing. I can visualize things quite clearly in my head and sketch things out that look more or less like what they're supposed to. But I'm not good at drawing because I didn't develop the skill. That natural talent isn't going to get me hired. Skill in an art form is learned, built, and practiced. It's measurable and it's valuable. An artist with no natural talent who puts in the work to learn the skill will outperform a talented artist who doesn't practice 9 times out of 10. I wasted my natural talent by not practicing, so it's meaningless. The industry doesn't pay for potential, it pays for usable, practical skill. Sports people train and run drills over and over. Surgeons repeat techniques in skills labs until they become second nature, if Grey's Anatomy is anything to go by.
Are you petting the pig? Stop petting the pig.
Plumbers learn how things work and how to fix them when they don't, and artists practice their skills in private until they master a style or technique. In most fields, once you're good enough, there's a clear path forward. In sport, there's a clear ladder. Train, compete, and then get selected. A plumber can train and qualify and immediately exchange skills for money.
Help him! You gotta help him! And when you go in there to help him, he just pulls it out easily and laughs because his foot wasn't stuck. It wasn't stuck at all, he was just faking it.
But for artists, whether you're an illustrator, a painter, or a musician, getting really good doesn't guarantee paid work. There's an extra step you have to take. Because in creative work, skill is only half the equation. The other half is whether the right people can see your skill, understand it, and imagine hiring you. Improving your skills quietly in your studio or at home is comforting. It's measurable to some degree, it's private, and it's productive. You can always be satisfied with a good day's work if you spend it practicing your art. But at a certain point, the skills stop being the bottleneck. Most of the artists I speak to who are struggling are already good enough to be hired for something. Maybe not their dream clients yet, but something. They're not struggling because they lack skill. They're struggling because their skill is invisible to the people who could hire them. Skill doesn't automatically translate to opportunities. It needs direction, context, and it needs to be aimed at something specific. An illustrator who can draw beautifully but hasn't decided where that skill fits commercially will often struggle more than an illustrator who's slightly less skilled but very clear about what they're for. Skill in your art matters a lot. But if nobody ever sees it, you'll struggle to make a career out of it. I see 2 buskers in town every now and again. One sings very well to the limited audience of people who are walking by, and she might make, I don't know, 20 or 30 pounds in a day in loose change. The other has a phone camera and a ring light set up on a music stand, and she records her music so she can put it online. And she has nearly 50,000 followers on Instagram and nearly 800,000 on TikTok. Who can say how much money she's making from private bookings? That following doesn't guarantee anything, but I'm willing to bet she's doing pretty well. Both singers seem exceptionally skilled to my untrained ear, but one is playing in a small pond and getting by. I don't know her name, I couldn't book her if I wanted to. And the other is singing to a global audience, giving her hundreds of thousands of chances to get bookings, record deals, sponsorship deals, or whatever else she wants to do with her life. It's not that one is more deserving, it's just that Leona makes it easier for people to find her. If you're already putting the work in and practicing your skills, the real question is, how are people supposed to find you? And a lot of the illustrators I know get stuck here because the solution feels awkward and uncomfortable. But you don't need to turn into a performer, you don't need to change your personality, and you don't need to overshare every aspect of your life. But you do need to show off more. Are your creative skills just for your own pleasure? Maybe, and that's fine. But if you want to share your skills with the world, you've got to be a show-off. And that phrase makes a lot of introverted artists recoil because it feels arrogant and cringy and attention-seeking. But if you've put years into building your creative skill, not putting equal effort into showing it off is a waste. In a way, it's actually pretty selfish to keep all that beautiful art to yourself. You're not showing off for yourself. You're showing off your work to brighten people's day with something that they might like or find useful or want to pay for. When I was briefly on the stand-up comedy circuit in London, 80% of the comedians I met were shy, introverted, awkward, even downright unsociable. But they were making rooms full of people laugh. What a brave and generous thing to do, especially when you're bogged down with self-doubt and anxiety. So how can you be a show-off without being an insufferable arse or a know-it-all? Let me show you 3 illustrators here who show off their work in engaging ways to make us like them more and want to see more from them. Francesca Page shares her passion for ocean conservation. Her videos aren't about her, they're about a meaningful cause that she believes in.
I know I've been banging on about this for what feels like 1,000 years, but sharks need our help, and there's one in particular, the oceanic whitetip.
Her artwork is how she supports that cause, and the clients she works with support that cause too. Con McHugh makes videos about how he creates his work because it's interesting to other artists and clients. He uses his life experience as a dancer to inform how he created this animation. It's a little bit instructional, a little bit self-promotional, but very entertaining, which is what people want on social media. Michael Driver has shared a short video every day for nearly 2 years. Here's a day in my life as a freelance illustrator.
Here's a day in my life as a freelance illustrator. I start the day by making a brew and jumping in the shower. Today is deadline day, and so I cracked straight on with a job I have on with the Chicago Bears. At about midday, I handed the artwork in and went for a nice walk with my daughter Robin. At about 5 o'clock, I got some feedback and promptly made the amends. Here is the final artwork. I then went for a well-deserved pint.
He shares the ups, the downs, the exciting and the mundane. It's a bit of fun for him and useful and instructive for other illustrators. One of my favourite people in the world is Alexander Wells. He's an illustrator, he's a friend. I love chatting with him about all kinds of things. He's funny and he's interesting, but he's also a massive introvert. He's a skilled illustrator, but as long as I've known him, he's been resistant to sharing too much of his work online and never shares anything of himself on social media. But this year he decided to give it a go and post a couple of videos. I didn't twist his arm in case you're wondering. He works on a screen most of the time, so it's maybe not as visually engaging as a painting or something more analog. He's also not a big fan of social media in general, fair enough. Lots of reasons not to try it, but he's trying anyway. If he can do it, you can too. Alex is early in his quest to become more visible online. I've put a link in the description to his Instagram and all the other artists. Go give them a follow and some encouragement. There are 1,000 ways you could show up online with more intention, but it works best when it's repeatable, low pressure, and aligned with who you already are. For it to be repeatable and low pressure, it needs to be easy and quick enough to work into your day-to-day life. And you don't want to feel like you have to perform for the camera. Just be yourself. It might be sharing some of your process and your sketched ideas. It could be a short explanation of how you solved a particular problem in a project. You don't need to go too far out of your way to find these interesting ideas. You're already doing these things anyway. You're just not sharing them. If you are talented, hardworking, and broke, it doesn't mean you failed. It usually just means you've been playing a game that rewards visibility while focusing almost entirely on skill. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to let more people see what you already do. If you've taken the time to work on your skills, show them off a bit more. And if you're one of the 20% of people who made it to the end of this video, let me know in the comments. See you next time.